Are we good to go? Yes? Okay, great. I'll call the meeting to order. It was properly posted on September 24th. We'll start with Keith for roll call.
Donna Jackson.
Butch Freeman, County Treasurer.
Brian Mon.
Danny Lambert in for David B. Hooten.
Mark Michaud.
Karen Thompson.
Brandon Holmes.
Okay. And Keith, you want to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'm not awake or something. It's been a long day. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Keith. All right. Is there a motion for the minutes of our regular meeting on August 30th?
Second.
See, it worked. Now you're making motions. Right on it. All in favor, say aye. Aye. And then our consent agenda through item 6.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, now you're back down. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Chantel?
Drum roll.
Thank you, everybody. So I wanted to bring a quick update. We did receive bids for our retirement bid that we put out. We did a first cycle on June 30th. We published bids. We received 3 bids. And then on August 18th, we rejected those bids to reissue. We made a few changes, cleared things up. And then on August 20th, we reissued bids. We opened 3 bids. We received bids from Save Day, Arvest, which is partnership with Alaris, and from Bank of Oklahoma. Out of those 3 bids, we did review them, we evaluated them. I met with the working committee for the retirement board and was able to give them my update, some of my thoughts and concerns, to ask questions. It was a good discussion. I wanted to come to you today with those same discussion topics to bring to you. But the first thing I wanted to let you all know is the options that you have before you today. Since we do have bids that have been opened and evaluated, you can continue during the evaluation process. In the past, the retirement board has entertained proposal presentations from your vendors, kind of like interview or that type of thing. But I also feel confident and prepared to recommend to you today also. And that could be another direction that the retirement board can decide on that today.
What's the board's pleasure?
Right. So maybe I can give you some of those discussion topics that we were discussed before.
That's what I was going to suggest, Mr. Chair, is let's hear some of the comments. I, of course, had a slight advantage in that I've heard a lot of the comments because of being on the subcommittee. But I think that we probably would be money ahead to go ahead and hear the comments and then decide, do we want to hear the 3 finalists?
Well, my point is, I want to hear the 3 finalists, so that's what I would like to actually see them face to face. That's why I was polling the board to see if you wanted to hear them. I may be in the minority about that, but I actually wanted to see them face to face.
Commissioner, I think let Chantel talk about what those bids are and make sure let her discuss the compliance part of it first.
Okay.
And then we can discuss that.
Of the 3 bids that we received, one was incomplete. It was non-responsive. It clearly did not meet the requirements that we had for our bid specification. The 2 other bids were complete. They did meet all the technical requirements. And of the 2, the low bid, if we went off of the financials alone, they had a little bit of concern with them personally. They did not have a lot of government experience. Little to none. They didn't have any references that they provided that had government experience. And they are a very small new company. For our size of the plan and the requirements that we have, I felt that we did have one bid that met all the requirements and had a experience in managing large plans, much like our own, and I felt would be a good fit for Oklahoma County. So with those general discussions, I'd be happy to answer any questions. I brought all my notes with me, but
So
that
are you
is-
saying the other two are ineligible for consideration?
just one is ineligible. One is an incomplete bid. The two were complete. They did meet requirements. I hesitate on one recommending it, but the other I felt very confident that it would be able to manage our plan.
The one that had a complete bid, but when the number of, what I think one of the questions were that you asked, how many plans do you have with 1,000 or more participants? Was that the question?
That was a question, yes. We asked for references,
Yes.
and they were not able to give us any plans.
references?
that
And
had
what
over
about
1,000.
their answer to the number of plans over 1,000 that they currently administer?
They had none. Not
So-
over that many. They had smaller plans that they managed.
So overnight, we'd become the largest kid on the block
Yes.
without them having had any experience of fighting on the block.
They may love us more.
And they what?
They may love us more. Be their number one client.
And
They're-
wasn't their assets substantially less than the entire?
So our entire plan is approximately $135 million. And the total managed assets that this proposal gave was 55 million. Those were their total managed plan assets that they had to share.
How many years have they been in business?
They were established in 2016.
What about the other one?
I'm sorry?
What about the other company? When were they established?
The,
Sure.
65 years.
Which company is that you were asking about?
Be okay.
Oh, be okay.
Well, I don't know the name, didn't know which company it was.
Well, it has to be. So, what size asset would we be in their portfolio?
They currently budget over $9.6 billion in total
So
assets.
we'd be like 9,642 in importance to them.
I don't know what that list would be.
I'm just saying, in all seriousness, the debate when we discussed this last time was about how much customer service are we going to get. We thought that the current provider was really savvy in customer service. They cared a lot about our account, right?
They did.
I mean that.
Frankly, I feel the same way. Personally, I feel the same way on BOK. They have obviously a tremendous local representation. I think too that in their bid, did they not say that, they would provide the local representation? And do you recall for how long? I mean, like, is it 40 hours a week or what?
We had particular requirements, even daily local services, and they indicated in their proposal that they could meet those local services for us.
Okay.
There's one that you say is the low bid, but as far as like, and I know a lot of that goes with basis points. Have you done a projection on the amount of business that we do or services that we provide, how that would correlate to the cost of either plan as far as, are they going to be either more or less than what we're paying now?
Sure. So in our bid proposal, we asked our bidders to provide their factor, but also the all-inclusive amount that we would pay an amount that you could expect to see in their contract, that annual amount. For the two complete proposals, the low bid was at 15 basis points. The high bid was at 27, and these are factors for so many dollars of the plan, and then it lessens a little bit for the rest of the remaining dollars of the plan. These calculations equal to, the low bid was $203,394.59. And your other bidder was, $419,168.97. Did that answer your question, Mark?
What are we paying currently?
I think, the retirement board, the contract you approved with Invest Trust was 450,000. Thank you,
So
John.
either one, we would be paying less than what we have been paying.
Yes, and each vendor guaranteed 3 years. That was our requirement in the bid, to guarantee these prices for 3 years.
Thank you.
Sure.
Chantel, was the smaller organization, are they locally owned here?
They are.
So I know like BOK would have, banks and offices, things like that here, but were either of them able to give us an option like InvestTrust where our employees could just walk in and ask questions?
Our bid did not require that they provide an address or a physical location,
Sure.
but it listed local services that they would have to meet and to
Okay.
provide on a daily basis for our participants, and then each indicated yes, that they could do that.
But I thought the question was, are they local?
So this is their
They're not local.
their office is out of Austin, Texas.
Yeah, they're a company out of Austin.
Right, but I didn't.
In fact, they don't have any local presence at the present time, do
Not
they?
that I was able to find it, if there was a storefront or a building that had their name on it that I could find.
Okay, thank you.
You mean the small company, the smaller one did not have a local
Correct.
presence? Okay.
Within our metro county area.
And both of these were turnkey solutions for both plans, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Further questions? Is there a motion?
What does this one allow us to do?
This item.
This is strictly an update,
Update.
right? So,
Correct, it is an update, and we can talk about the next steps in our evaluation process if the board would
Okay.
choose to do
oh,
that.
I did have another question. Part of the bid, of course, and a part that's very important to us, is the administration. What's the story on the administration? How did the two bids approach providing the administration of our plan, i.e. the reports, the documents, et cetera, et cetera?
Are you asking if it's turnkey for?
Okay,
for
all
each?
right, so that's your definition of turnkey?
Turnkey would be that they provide the fiduciary as well as the administration and management together without having to split it.
And so how did they opt to do that?
They, both companies have proposed to provide that turnkey, that all those services will be with that one company.
Okay.
If you, in your professional opinion, if you were to take either one of these companies, which one in your opinion would be the closest to the current product that we have with InvestTrust?
I believe that it would be your higher bid
Okay.
with BOK.
I have a question.
Chantel, when you said earlier you weren't able to check references on the smaller company?
We were able to check those references.
you-
They were just plans that weren't not dissimilar to what we asked for.
When you tried to vet them out, you couldn't get it to fit this niche.
Correct.
That's.
They were
what I-
smaller companies of about 50 employees to 100 employees that they had plans with.
Were they happy with them?
Yes.
I had a question regarding their presence, say at our meetings, monthly meetings. Would they have someone present to be able to
Yes.
do presentations?
Yes.
And I assume if the smaller company were selected, they'd put a local presence here.
I did not ask that question directly, but I do know that their proposal has resumes of their representatives, who they would be, where they come from, and what requirements that they would meet in the proposal.
Okay, well, is there a motion to receive a report unless there's further questions?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
If you believe the agenda item covers giving her directive for
No, let's-
where to proceed,
Look at, agenda item 8.
Agenda item 7, I believe, would allow the retirement board to direct me on how you would like to further proceed in evaluation. I could contact vendors to come and provide presentations to the board. That is allowed in our schedule that we had. The tentative schedule in our bid was to allow for some presentations. I would encourage you to possibly try to schedule those that as quickly as this week, so we can try to keep things moving with our certain time frame.
Are we still trying to get this conversion completed by 1 January?
Yes, or as quickly as possible.
Trust? Is that what you're still planning on?
I think it would be a challenge. We have a couple other plans that are converting December 1st. So usually at the end of the year, it becomes a challenge because of all the year-end things that you have to do. But it's something I think we could talk about. First quarter would probably be better, but I know John and I have had a couple discussions about it, so.
What have we told our contract, our two bidders, three remaining bidders?
What, I'm sorry, what is a total?
No. What have we told them about when we would expect them to be able to convert over?
In our bid proposal, we put enrollment by provider November 1st, funds transferred by provider December 1st, and loan consolidation occurs January 1. Did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
That's probably gonna have to be that probably gonna cut it, but that's okay.
Those were tentative dates, of course.
All right, does the board have any comments? Anybody want to weigh in?
All right, so now we are on 8, correct?
Well, I think item 7, we can direct her to do some things, or you can go, if you're ready, you want to go on to item 8, we can, if you don't feel like you want to give her any directives.
I personally would kind of like to hear from the companies.
I appreciate mask and all, but even with hearing aids, I can't understand a word you two say.
I said I personally would kind of like to hear from the companies.
Okay?
Sure. Others?
I want to express, listening to Chantel explain the bids, and I'm big on wanting to get this thing moving too, because I know that everybody wants to push to get it done, and we still have, when Chantel awards the contract, there's still negotiation on the contracts that the DA and whoever gets it's going to have to do. We're probably not going to be able to do the cut and paste on the old contract. It might be nice if we could, but I doubt seriously it's going to be totally cut and paste.
Mm-hmm.
That contract's kind of old and dusty. My concern is, and it's just listening to what Chantel said, is that you're going to compare apples with oranges, and the problem is we're needing apples. And having someone make a presentation who has got $50 million under investment, does not have a plan of up to $1,000 participants in it, you're going to ask them to quadruple their workload and to do it efficiently in less than 3 months. I don't like to use this term, but you're setting yourself up for failure. Because once you get into it and they start, I'm just looking at the vision of this because I've seen this happen before with other types of businesses. I mean, the summary is very clear. It's very, very clear. One entity has serviced multiple employees, large numbers of employees, and been able to handle a large deal and has a large amount under investment. And yeah, those who want to sit here and say, well, we'll be 1x of that investment, that's their entire trust department has got that much underinvestment, if I may be corrected. That doesn't just mean pension plans, that's the whole trust department, is that correct? Well, you gotta divide the trust department into pieces. And I don't know how much they have in trust, retirement investments in there. But as much as we want to sit here and argue and we want to get both deals on here, I think we're gonna lose traction on getting this thing done by December 31st. If you go in and you bring in somebody who probably doesn't qualify. And remember the term that we have in this, we have to get not only the best price, but we have to have the best qualifications. And I'm not here to argue that, you know, we could hire the higher bid and 2 days later, this thing doesn't work because they can't come to a contract. But I'm also got this fear of bringing somebody that we would be basically their largest customer that they've ever had, and they're going around and panicking because they can't handle the size. And John, we have how many active participants in the plan right now, including retirees?
About 1,600.
You're asking them to go to 1,600 participants to take care of, 1,600 separate accounts. I don't know. That's a shock factor that I don't know that I want to. I will look after the employees. Even though don't work for the county, I want to look after the employees and what's in the best interest of the employees of this county. And I don't know that bringing up somebody with a bid that has 50 million in assets and does not have a plan. And I believe, Chantel, you did ask if they had a government plan. They have no governmental plans. So this would be all new to them. And I'm assuming the other bidder has governmental plans.
Yes.
So they understand that the governmental plans run at their own pace and do their own thing.
Mr. Chair, may I ask Karen, are you proposing to hear all three bids since one is not a complete bid?
No, I would really like to hear the main one. It's my deal.
Oh, I see. You want to hear both plans, then two plans, or?
I would really like for BOK, because it sounds like that's the top-notch one. I'd like to hear their presentation.
Okay.
Did they say who the administrator was going to be? It'd be okay. Or they probably haven't assigned anybody, have they?
I believe from the proposal, BOK is offering the all services.
Okay. Okay,
Within
but
their-
they didn't say a specific trust officer or,
No,
Okay.
not by name.
okay.
All right, others want to weigh in? Other comments? Well, from my point of view, there's a friend of mine who has a business that's a small business on Lincoln, and his number one client is Sonic. And I'm going to tell you what, he cares about Sonic. And he wouldn't have much of a business if he didn't have Sonic. And he employs local people, he has a local presence, and he makes sure Sonic is happy every day. So I think, you know, they applied, they have the ability in their mind to do it. And I'm a big proponent of small business, and I'm a big proponent of the employees being treated like they're a big deal, because I think our portfolio is not insignificant. And if we're part of a major operation, not saying they aren't capable, I'm saying that we might not be as important. And while they may have multiple locations, they also didn't indicate that they could service us at each of those locations, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
That wasn't asked.
So that would be something to ask if they came before this board. I'm sure they would have an answer. But that's my explanation. I'm not for hearing somebody who's not legally qualified to be considered. But
I don't mind hearing both of them if that's what the board decides. I will tell you this, and again, having been on the committee that worked on to get these recommendations to you, and Keith, I'll just echo what Keith says. Commissioner, with all due respect, this ain't Sonic. And I'm telling you what.
well, no,
we got
Sonic's
too
a
much-
lot bigger deal than us.
Yeah, I got you, but I'm telling you what.
You know,
I don't-
everybody
I'm-
can
I'm
have
just-
their
I'm
opinion.
not comfortable. I'm not comfortable.
Everybody
Okay, and that's
can
what
have-
I'm giving, it's
and
my
I
opinion.
just gave mine.
And I
Is that
just gave
okay?
mine.
Okay, we've heard from both of us. Anybody else? Is there one person wanting to make a motion? John, you got something else to add?
Just one piece of input, and she might have already said this, the other company's out of Austin and they don't have a local presence now.
Right.
Yeah. That was mentioned.
We understood. Mhm.
Are we allowed to know who the other company is? I mean, we've pretty
Oh,
much
yeah.
established
Yes,
who
yes.
BOK is.
Save Day is the name of the company.
Spell all that.
SAVEDAY.
Okay.
I'll just make a comment. I'm agreeing with Keith.
Oh, that's a shock.
Yeah.
God.
No. I appreciate what Keith says, and if we're talking about how I'm leaning more towards what Keith is representing.
Okay. Somebody make a motion.
What kind of motion are we looking for?
We got one
Well-
of two options, it looks like to me. Either we go with the bid we feel is the most competent and say we want to have Chantel continue to work with one company and negotiate to get a deal done, or we vote to have both of them come in and make a there's actually three. Have both companies come in and make a presentation, or we have BOK make a presentation before we hit the final vote. I think there's three options. I don't know which one anybody wants. I know direction I'd say
Well, I'd say you go ahead and make a motion.
I'm not going to touch that one at 10. Never mind.
Can I ask a question?
I'm going to make this motion. I think that, I'll make it this way. I want to move that the board recommend to the purchasing officer and to the Board of County Commissioners that we go ahead and take not the lowest bid, but the best bid in Bank of Oklahoma. And we keep moving this process forward so that we can make some of our deadlines. That is my motion, that we move forward with Bank of Oklahoma through the purchasing officer. Go ahead and make sure that all the rest of the agreements come into play, and then the contracts can be let.
All right. And if there's
That's
a
my
second, then
recommendation.
we'll let Karen speak here.
Second.
All right, Karen?
I just want to double check. I know you said that they met all their qualifications, but as one that uses InvestTrust a lot and hopes to retire in a few years, did BOK say that they would have a place where we can go and we can pick up our checks, or we can,
They did.
have them direct deposited, and they'll be able to do the loans and all that kind of stuff that so many of us employees use?
They did indicate that all local services that we currently have, they would be able to provide. And that was some of those technical requirements that both of those bids met. They both indicated they would meet those requirements. Loan
That is
distribution, check pickup.
extremely important to the employees.
Yes, ma'am.
I agree.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, it passes.
I thought I'd never say that.
Yeah.
Okay,
8-1.
and then number 9, Danny.
All right, the forfeiture balance at the end of August was $1,191,000. We had forfeitures that totaled $61,000 for the month of August. Taking averages and estimating out the rest of the year, we anticipate we'll end the year with about $2.2 million in this fund.
Any questions of Danny?
Danny, is the forfeitures running higher than normal, or is it just?
Well, the first month of this year in July was $191,000, which was really high. Last year we averaged about $118,000 a month, so we're just kind of taking that average of about $120 a month moving forward. So yeah, they have been high.
Okay, it seems a little higher than normal. Okay.
Is there a motion to receive his report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Everything in order for Gail Doyle.
Yes, sir.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the motion for Gail. Gail has worked in the county clerk's office for 36 years. She is a superstar in our office. Thankfully, she's going to be stay on and work part-time for a while, but she has a lot of knowledge, is a great person to work with, and we're going to miss her a lot. I know the three of us have had the opportunity to work with her over the years, and yeah, we're going to miss her.
36 years working with you all. Okay.
I know, right? Oh, thank you.
Now, is there a second?
Congratulations.
We're nice to work with.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, now I'll move it for James. I know he's in good standing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank him for his service for District 2. Mr. Wilkerson.
Sure. Number 12 addresses our annual financial audit for the defined benefit plan. Linda produces that report, gets with Mr. Freeman's office, and we put it on the board's agenda for them to receive. And we use this report in conjunction to do our defined benefit actuarial analysis every year. So that's to come next month. This report's just to receive on the agenda this month, and then we'll have the full actuarial report next month on the agenda.
Is there a motion to receive his report?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Item 13 is to approve the invoice in the amount of $5,500 for the financial audit.
Being the CP on the board, I move to approve.
Is there a
We always
second?
like to get paid.
Is there all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any citizens wishing to speak before the retirement board? Board comments? Anyone?
Sir.
I do.
Okay.
The process that we're in the middle of, no, I guess we're beyond in the middle of, and that is an incredibly important process that for all of our retirees, and we're no longer a small fund, 135 million. And I'd like to personally thank Chantel, who did an incredible job, and also that gentleman behind her, Mr. Jim Priest. Jim Priest, of course, was our hired gun, so to speak, who came in here with a lot of expertise. And when we consolidated his expertise with our procurement expertise, I think that we got some winning work done. So I just want to personally thank both of those individuals for the many hours you put in and for all of the hard work you did on behalf of our county.
And I want to reiterate that from being the outside member in the county to say that Chantel and Jim have gone through and done all the extra stuff and done the extra mile. And yes, it would have liked to have had 5 or 6 bidders, but because we want the plan to stay basically like we've had it for the last few years, it meant that reduced the size. And they made it, tightened it up, and made it so that I feel that the current employees of Oklahoma County, except for the name on the top of the piece of paper, will probably end up saying that it's going to be as like what they had before, as close as they can. And that's what was important to me. And Chantel and Jim have just worked like crazy to get it right. And I think it's perfect. So thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Do you have something you want to say?
I just wanted to appreciate the kind words and also just thank for what we got to help out on this project.
Any other comments? Is there any new business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't want to drag it out any further. It's been, I made it as clean as I could. I'm the one that threw investor